Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophia. If you are new here, thank you guys so much for watching. And today I'm going to be talking about the 13 books that I read in August. And guys, I'm so excited that I did it again. I was able to read like more than 10 books. And I hit my goal of reading a good amount of books in August. So I'm very, very happy with that. 13 books is a lot for me. And the fact that I've been able to read a lot 2 months in a row is like amazing. I did also want to say thank you to everybody who have recently subscribed. I've enjoyed having conversations with you guys down in the comments, and it's just such a fun little book family I've created here that I can talk with you guys about. So if you are liking this content, don't forget to subscribe. And if you are new here, say hi to me in the comments down below. I'd love to have a little chat with you. I don't like to keep my videos very long because I'm almost 30 weeks pregnant and I'm so out of breath. So I'm just gonna jump right into it and tell you guys about the 13 books that I read this month. So y'all, the first book I read this month was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I'm so excited to tell you about this book. It feels like ages ago when I read this, but I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Like, I loved this book. I already want to reread it and I want to annotate it because the writing was just great. There's so many good quotes. There's so many like deeper meanings in this book, and like the cover, guys, it's beautiful. If you don't know what this book is about, this book follows two main characters. I think the name is Mateo and Rufus, yes. And they get a call about some bad news that they are going to die in less than 24 hours. So already the storyline's like super interesting. Just love seeing the growth of these two characters and their friendships and their stories, and I just loved all the characters. Honestly, there's not anything in this book that I did not like. It was just summed up perfectly, and it's a book that really makes you think, like, what would you do if you knew you were going to die within 24 hours, and like, how would you live your life, and would you be scared of like just doing basic everyday things like going to brush your teeth, and you know, like, would you, like, how would you deal with it? So I really enjoyed this. It was a really good ending, and yeah, this is just 5 stars, guys. The next book I read was From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata. I think I'm saying her name right, but this was my first Mariana Zapata book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy like the slow burn aspect into it, and I loved the bickering, and it was like a childhood friends and enemies to lovers type of situation, but I really enjoyed it. If you are into slow burns and just needs like a good romance that you don't have to like pay a lot of attention to, then that is definitely the book for you. And of course, I picked up Beach Read by Emily Henry, and I read this on the beach, so it was so fitting, and I have my tabs. I think this is one of like the only books I annotated this month because I just really did not feel like annotating at all this month. I still don't really feel like it, but I really enjoyed this book. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't rate it higher was because it really wasn't what I was expecting, but I mean, it was still good. It's about 2 writers, like polar opposites, and they live next door to each other, and they're challenging each other to like step out of like their writing genre, and to like write each other's genre, and like who can actually like succeed with it. And so it's kind of competitive. It's really quirky. Like, I just really loved it, and I loved the like relationship between these two. I love that this book was not an insta love book. It was a little bit slower, but I actually really enjoyed that it was slower. I think that if it was fast paced, I probably wouldn't have liked the story that much, because in order for it to work, it needed to be slow. You needed to feel the emotions the characters were going through, and you needed to really connect with like their story and like how they're growing together as friends. And some of the quotes in here were so good. Like, here's one that I highlighted. It says, "The promise you ever had in life was the one moment you were living." Like, stunning. That is so freaking true. This next book, I did not even intend to read this book this month. I didn't even know it existed until I was watching a video on YouTube, and as soon as I saw it, I ran to the store and I got it, and that was Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. I love this graphic novel so much, the series so much. It is so cute, and the art is so precious. Like, Stop. If you haven't read this or you haven't even gotten into like graphic novels, I would definitely recommend starting with the series. This series is so good. It's so stinking cute. I don't know how to explain it anymore without like giving anything away. So like just go into it blindly. Like that's what I did. I just trusted that it was great. It also has like a lot of hard topics and like deeper meanings. So there's a trigger warning for like ED and stuff like that. I just love the series. I think there's gonna be one more coming out, and then when that one comes out, I'm gonna reread the whole series. But you can easily get through these books within like an hour to 2 hours. They're just so quick. I read Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, and I actually didn't hear much about this when I bought it. It was on like the mix and match table at Barnes and Noble, and it sounded so good. But y'all, this threw me for a loop a little bit. I did give it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know, I just wasn't fully like obsessed with it, but it was a page turner and I was able to like really stay interested. I really did enjoy the story. I mean, I think I read it in like a day. I just kept reading, like find out what happened, and I kept thinking I knew what was happening. I was wrong. And so that really did throw me for a loop, but y'all, it was really good. So if you don't know what this story is about, it follows a mom whose daughter goes missing, and then 10 years after her disappearance, she meets a man, and she ends up meeting his family and his daughter, and his daughter reminds her so much of her daughter that went missing, and she would be the same age, and it's just kind of crazy. And so she's trying to figure out, like, is this her daughter, or like what is going on? Trying to figure out, like, is this my child that I'm seeing? And then she's like in denial, like it can't be, I'm just missing her. And then it sparks up we still need to figure out what happened to her. And then she goes digging for more answers, and she gets her answers, and it's just wild. It's a good ride. I would definitely recommend reading it. It will be perfect for this time of year. Yeah. Next book I read was on my Kindle, and that was Layla by Colleen Hoover. And I actually really enjoyed this one by Colleen. It has a lot of mixed reviews on Goodreads. Like, people really don't like this one as much as all her other books. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it, and the best part about Kindle Unlimited is that some of the books that they have on there also pair with your Audible account. So if you do have an Audible account, you can listen to the audiobook for free. This is like in no way sponsored. I pay for Audible with my own money. And so I love that. I basically listened to the audiobook. And I only read like maybe like 50 pages of it, and mostly I listened to it. It was such a, I think maybe I enjoyed the story more because I was listening to it. Because the narration was honestly pretty good, but I loved it. I did not guess the ending. It really got me. It threw me for a loop. I feel like I'm saying that like about everything, but I thought I had it figured out, and I didn't. And it was just so weird, and it was like not what I was expecting at all. I don't want to tell you guys what Layla is about. I'm sure you can go look on Goodreads, or you probably heard what it's about, but I went into it completely blind, just knowing that it's like creepy and a mix of like paranormal into it. And so it's like literally all you need to know. And that it's like, just like don't look into it, just go in. I think I enjoyed it more because I went into it blind. So I wasn't like, I didn't expect anything, like there wasn't much I was expecting from it. So I just really like went with it and enjoyed the ride that she took me on. But yeah, I would definitely recommend listening to the audiobook. Even if you didn't enjoy the book that much, you might enjoy the audiobook a little bit better. And I picked up Ghost by Dolly Alderton, and if you watched my previous book haul video, I did haul this book. I got this out of my blind date with a book, and I was so disappointed, guys. I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. It was a really short book, and it took me a while to get through. It kind of put me in a little bit of a slump. Like I liked the idea of the story and like where it was going, and it was very realistic, but I had a hard time like with her writing. And I know a lot of people love her writing, but I had a hard time with it. And I don't know if it's because it's kind of like a British book or not, if it was like the language or what. I just had a really hard time like getting into it and like connecting with the characters. It just kind of fell flat for me. But I know a lot of people enjoyed it. It literally says international bestseller, so maybe it was just a case of like the wrong time, wrong book for me. I might try it again in the future, but basically It's about this woman who's single in her 30s, and she goes on like all these kind of dates, and they are not going well, and then she ends up finding one that she really likes, and then ends up getting ghosted, and she's just trying to deal with everything and trying to ignore the fact that she's being ghosted and like why she's being ghosted. And she also has like some personal problems in the midst of everything. So I mean, it was a really interesting story. It was very realistic, I will say. Like, this is like what would happen like in real life, which I really did appreciate. But it just wasn't like the book for me 100%, but that's okay. Not every book is. Back up with my 5-star reads is Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. And I honestly think August was like the most 5-star reads that I've read in a long time. This was so good, and the cover is so cute, and I think Lynn Painter is becoming one of my new favorite authors. I have discovered a couple authors that I really like recently, and so I can't wait to read the rest of her books that she's put out. But basically, this is a like rom-com-y type of romance between two people that are texting each other from the wrong number, and the banter in this book was so cute, and it was so perfect. They kind of have like this like anonymous like pen pal texting friendship sort of thing going on, and then somehow, some way, I'm not gonna spoil anything, one of the two figure out who the other person is, and then like they keep going, and then obviously like chaos and, you know, drama, and it's just really good. Then I read Final Girls by Riley Sager on my Kindle. I just bought the Kindle edition because it was cheaper, and I didn't really like the cover of the actual book that much. But I really enjoyed this one as well. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really good thriller. Riley Sager, like, I'm so interested in reading the rest of his books. I think I recently bought House Across the Lake, which I'm excited to read. I loved his writing style and like the way he told the story. It was so easy to follow. There was a lot of twists and turns, and I've heard a lot of his books have like really good plot twists. Basically, Final Girls follows a girl named Quincy who went on vacation with some college friends, and everybody got murdered but her. And so basically it just follows the story of her and some other final girls, of people who survived like mass massacres and like murder type things. But I did really enjoy it. Gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's definitely worth the read. If you've read any of Riley Sager's books, let me know which one's your favorite, because I was obsessed with his writing, and I went out and bought Lock Every Door and House Across the Lake. So let me know which one was your favorite. Getting down to the end of this list, but I kept reading on my Kindle. I just love reading on my Kindle so much lately. But I picked up The Shuttering by Ania Onapong. I don't know how to say her last name, but I'll put a picture of the cover right here somewhere so you guys can see it. But it's on my Goodreads if you want to go check it out. I only picked this up because I was in this big mood after reading Riley Sager's book of finding a book that genuinely scares me. Like, it's the same with movies. Like, it's so hard to... I'm so hard to scare. Like, I'm easy to scare in real life, but like when I'm watching a movie or like when I'm reading something, it takes a lot. And so I looked up on YouTube like books that like really scared me, or like my favorite horror books of all time, and Gabby from Gabby Reads loved this one and recommended it, but it fell really flat for me. I did not like it at all. I did not like the characters. Like, I just didn't care. It was creepy, yes. Was it written out good? Like, it felt like a movie? Yeah, but it just wasn't for me. I did not like it. Then I picked up The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, and this cover, y'all, is so cute, and like the pink paper, and I'll show you what the actual book looks like. I picked this one up because everybody was talking about it, and I was like, you know what, why not try it? The cover's really cute, the storyline sounds great, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Again, I loved it. August had so many 5 out of 5 star reads. It was perfect. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and reread it and annotate the fire out of this one, because again, it was so stinking good. But basically, it's a romance, and there's no spice in it, by the way, at all. I think it's called like a closed door romance. I think that's what you call it when there's no spice. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm literally learning like all of these new like things. but basically it follows a girl who is a movie star's or like famous person's bodyguard, and which was really interesting because I was thinking like the guy was going to be the bodyguard for the girl, but no, it's the girl that's the bodyguard for the boy. And it was so good, and it was not insta love. Like, the character development was there, the build up was there, the plot twists were there. Her writing was so easy to get through, and it was so like funny and lighthearted, and I really did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did. So that was great. And this is again another one of these books that I've just heard people rave about, and I didn't really like dive into like exactly what the book is about. I just kind of like read the blurb at the bookstore, and guys, you won't regret this. Pick it up. I could have read this all in one sitting if I wasn't so busy with my kiddos. It was so good. Freaking loved it. Then I picked up a very old booktube raved book, and that was Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I love Jennifer's writing style, and I've had this book on my shelf forever. And I really enjoyed it. And I just moved to North Carolina, and this story takes place like 30 minutes from the town that I live in. So that was really interesting. It was interesting. It was nothing you take too seriously. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, but it is like a vampire type of book. Pretty interesting though. And the one thing I did like about it is it does have a romance in it, and it's kind of like a forbidden romance, which I love forbidden romances. I don't know what it is, but I love them. I'll kind of read you like the back of the of the book to tell you what it's about really quick. And it's kind of old. A lot of people might know about it, but just to refresh your memory, it's easier to just read this than tell you what it's about. But it says 17-year-old Alexandria would rather risk her life fighting than waste it scrubbing toilets, but she may end up slumming it anyway. There are several rules that students at the Covenant must follow. Alex has problems with them all, but especially Rule 1. Relationships between pure and halves are forbidden. Fortunately, she's crushing hard on the totally hot, pure-blood Aiden, but falling for Aiden isn't her biggest problem. Staying alive long enough to graduate the Covenant and become a Sentinel is, if she fails in her duty, she faces a future worse than death or slavery, being turned into a daemon, and being hunted by Aiden, and that would kind of suck. So, yeah, it was interesting. This really reminds me of like Twilight and Vampire Diaries. Really big on Vampire Diaries, if like those kind of like mixed together. More on the Vampire Diaries side, which is why I picked it up a long time ago. So if you like Vampire Diaries, try the series out. You'll probably really like it. The book that I read in August and finished in August was The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. So I have a few Christina Lauren books on my bookshelf that I need to read. This was my first one I read by her, and I did really like the story. This is about a girl whose sister gets married, and everybody at the wedding gets like food poisoning really bad, except for her and the best man, and they do not like each other. But her sister was like, will you go on my honeymoon, because I can't like get it refunded because she won it in like a raffle. And so she was like, fine, she'll go. And then her husband gave his ticket to his best man, obviously, and so they basically are two people that do not like each other going on vacation with each other, pretending to be on their honeymoon. So does that not sound amazing? But I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. It wasn't like the best thing ever, but it was funny. I liked the storyline. Like, this could be a really funny movie. I could definitely see it being a movie. And the cover is so cute. So those were all of the 13 books that I read in August. I hope I did a better job like kind of explaining it. I'm still like getting in the swing of like filling wrap-ups and everything. But I try not to give too much away because it's so fun just going into books blind, but like hearing what, like if somebody liked it or not, basically. So hopefully this video isn't too long, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you've read in August and what your favorite book was that you read. And my social medias are down below if you want to follow me there as well. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!